Yo, Kingdom, community vibes, community ties. Terrance Tucker is the brother who's connecting the tribe.
What's going on?
Nothing much. How you
Listen, man, I'm so thankful for you to be on the community vibes with your boy, man. I'm so thankful.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, come on, man. It's too easy. Too easy. Now, let me make sure that I get your first name right. So it's Jamesha or Jamesha?
Jamesha. Yes.
All right. We have Miss Jamesha Shackerford in the building. Let's give a round of applause. We worked together on several things. I think that I first met you at Patrick Patterson's. He had a dinner. Wasn't we at CJ's or something like that?
It was CJ's for his Male Achievement Conference.
Right. So when I met you, I was so impressed by you. But I did not know back then that, man, you was just 24?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. You jumped in the game early. Man. A young man. Listen, man, young, bright minds, and you definitely winning out here. First of all, let's learn more about you, okay? Now, for those who may not know about you, for those who may be living up under a rock, right, and they have not heard your name, where are you from?
So I'm originally from Lakeview, South Carolina, small town in Dillon County. But I really call Columbia my hometown because I've been here since I've been 12. So I was brought up in Columbia, but Lakeview are my roots all day, every day.
Lakeview.
Yes.
Now, where did you attend college?
I went to Columbia College here in Columbia.
Yeah. Columbia College. All right.
Graduate. That's because I graduated there.
University.
It is, man. I love it. I mean, now it's transitioning to co-ed, but when I went there as a private liberal arts all-women's college, changed my life. I graduated from there in 2015, and I've just been grinding since then.
So let me ask you this. Why Columbia College?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to go to a single gender college. And, growing up, I remember my uncle always saying that, you're going to go to Spelman. And, I thought about Spelman, but it wasn't until I stepped on the steps of Columbia College. And I was like, man, I'm home. And I was when I went to college, I also minored in dance. Well, I came in as a dance major. So I thought I was going to be a dance.
You know how to do a little something?
I do know how to do a little something. So, yes, I've been dancing since middle school. High school, went to college, got a dance scholarship to go to college. Thought I was going to be a dance teacher in K-12 schools. But, I eventually changed my path. But Columbia College, what really sealed the deal for me is just the home environment, man. I love it.
Now, let me ask you one quick question. What kind of dance was it? Like, was it more like ballet or classical or theater, or was it hip hop? You know what I'm saying?
I would say Columbia.
What kind of dance was it?
I say I'm training pretty much everything, but Columbia College is a more contemporary field. So when you see like really edgy, kind of lyrical, but not really lyrical dance, but that's what really all the professors there were trained at. But we had a little hip hop, we had a little jazz every here and there. Little ballet classes here and there. But contemporary, and that's honestly what my favorite dance style is contemporary dance. That mixed with hip hop.
Okay, great. So now you said that once you completed, your degree there, what was next for you? Because let me see, you graduated when you was about 21, 20 years old, right? Then
21.
You jumped straight in the game. Okay.
I did.
No hesitation. You didn't take no breaks. You said, listen, we coming for the gold right now. We're not waiting. Okay. Well, what made you, what started that for you? Because some people, they try to find themselves whenever they finish college. They may go back to school, or but you was right on it. You knew what you wanted to do. You knew that you wanted to be within the community. So what started that for you?
So I would say in college, I was one of those students that I got bored really easily in class. So I was actually able to build my own major at Columbia College. They had a contractual studies program where you go and you build your own major, you do the research. So what I decided to do, I said, I like a little bit of business, I like a little bit of communications, and a little bit of computer science. So I was able to pull from each discipline to create my own major. I actually graduated with a major of integrated marketing communications. So people say, what is that? It's basically fusing marketing communications together. Did not want to do anything in the marketing field, but I knew that it would give me the most versatility as an applicant when I go out there. But it wasn't until my sophomore year of college, I worked in the fundraising department on campus. I mean, when I was on school, I had like 3 jobs on campus, y'all.
Oh, you were hustling.
I was hustling, trying to make money.
Right.
So I worked in the fundraising office, and I remember saying like, I want to do this for a living. And then I had a person say, you want to ask people for money? I said, it's not about asking people for money for a living. It's about connecting them to a cause that they care about. So leading on in my senior year, I was fortunate enough to get an internship at my current job, which is Central Carolina Community Foundation. We are a funder to nonprofits. So when I started working there, I said, man, this is the other side of fundraising.
It's the other side.
It's the other side. Like I'm helping to steward dollars out into the community. Right. A little different. Right. But that still passion of working with donors, being able to connect them to nonprofits who are doing really good work. I'm like, this is it. So I was there as an intern. They hired me, right when I graduated college. I didn't know what I was going to do at first. But yeah, they hired me right when I was going to, just leaving. I remember the day that I got pulled into the office. It was, a couple of days before I graduated, got pulled into the office by the CEO and then the former VP for finance. And they was like, Jamesha, we want to talk to you. And I'm like, man, what did I do wrong? What did I misfile? What did I misenter? And they were like, they're like, we know that you're looking for a job, but we don't want to lose you. And I said, in my mind, and inside, I was like, oh my gosh. But on the outside, I was playing it cool too. I was like,
cool.
Okay, that was cool.
Never let them see you sweat.
Never let them see me sweat, because at that moment, I was like applying for jobs. I wasn't getting callbacks, even, my supervisor at the internship, my job, was helping me, review my resume. All while that was going on, they were preparing to offer me a position there.
Wow.
So when I got put into the office, they said, this is the package we want to give you. I said, okay, I think about it. I didn't have nothing else to think about. That was it. That was it. But I said, sign and seal, but they didn't.
But you gotta give them what they call the whole poker face. Let them.
Gotta give them the poker face.
Play the game a little bit.
And let me tell you, Tuck, what I knew is, I knew that although I was fresh out of college, although I know that I didn't know everything, I knew that I was a jewel to them. And I knew that I can grow.
You knew your value.
I knew my value, even before I even had the skill set. And that's what, from that point, negotiated what my salary was going to be and all of that. But I went into the game knowing that, man, I am an asset even before you were able to see what I could bring to the table.
Wow. But see, that right there is self-love. That is self-confidence. Knowing your worth is so key, and that's rare for young people coming out of college, because sometimes we just don't know. What I'm saying? Like, you're trying to get the first job you can get, they may lowball you and give you like, yo, listen, we're going to give you $10 an hour. You're like, okay, great. Right?
Okay, girl, I got a job.
Right. So many young people do not know your value. So that speaks, man, volumes, because you knew your value, and you knew your worth. Let me ask you this. When you left the meeting, right, and when you got in the car, what's the first thing you thought about?
So, I'm not gonna be broke on somebody's couch. That's what I really thought about. I'm like, this car that I just, purchased, I'm gonna have to wait to pay for it.
Right. Listen, man, God is good, man.
He is, and that's an important step too for me and my step. I knew that the Lord had already ordered my steps. Like, so I wasn't worried about. I had some hesitation of like what to find, but I always knew that something was going to find me because my steps are already ordered. So that was a good part of it too, is being grounded in my faith and knowing that the Lord was not going to just leave me high and dry. That it may not look like how I expected it. Thankfully, it worked out great. But even with anyone, watching, it's not about what it looks like. It's about what the Lord said.
Come on, man! Don't make me start, preaching up in here. Okay? Now listen. Now your job requires you to do, let's say, a lot of networking. A lot of communicating, a lot of rubbing elbows with different people. Yeah. Did that bring you? Well, let me ask you this: was that comfortable for you, or was that beyond your comfort zone?
I would say it was comfortable for me because Columbia College prepared me for it. But what it did not prepare me for is to walk into an environment and almost like feeling like you have to prove yourself. So at my college, women are pretty much groomed to be leaders, right? So when you go out into the real world, when I was going to the networking things, I was having to come into a space where I didn't really know anybody. I didn't really have that back support of my classmates or my teachers. So I did have to navigate being able to be in that space and be authentic. And I would never forget, I have a really good friend, her name is Angela. She's, one of our donors that we have at the foundation. And she came in, and Angela, if you ever met her name is Angela O'Neill. She is like loud, she is funny, like she is straight how she is at all the time. And I said to myself, man, I want to be as authentic as she is. And just watching her, just to be an example of you can be a Black woman, you can bring your full personality, and that is okay. So you don't have to you don't have to go into the networking positions or networking opportunity as in like an approved self, who you think they want you to be. You can go in as your full self, and know that who God has created you to be is good enough. So that's really helped me with that. It is. It catches people off guard.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, because they already have this low key perception. You know what I mean? So sometimes when you're working and you can be yourself, that's a blessing. Because there's a switch that you kind of have to turn on a little bit.
Yeah, you have to code switch. I always have to code switch, no matter what environment we go into. But I had to learn, and this is a skill that I say I truly had to learn, how to when and where to turn on the code switch, because there's places where I turn on the code switch that wasn't necessary, that me coming as my full self would have been very beneficial. But because I assume, society wants me to be presented this way, I want myself to be presented in this way, that I needed to code switch. But you just have to learn how to navigate, how to make sure you're being true to your authentic self and knowing when and where to turn off that code switch. Wow.
So my question to you is how long did it take you to learn that?
I would say about a year into my career, really. Because when I first started, I was like filing papers and handling money, like very administrative support. So I really didn't know I knew what I loved, but I wasn't really activated in it, in that current job at the moment. That came later along. But the more I started allowing my true self to just flow through, I would say a year into my job, the more I got comfortable with, I do have a skill set. I do have these skills that will allow me to learn different other traits that I may need to make me successful in my job. It was at that switch where I realized that I had everything that I needed to be successful. And I was they about to know the real Misha. She about to come correct. She about to come, standing as the woman that God created her to be.
Hey, listen, man. Jay-Z said it, man. Listen, man. Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I had to.
That's what it's about. Reestablish yourself. Sometimes you have to learn the game first before you can win the game.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. So let me ask you one question. Okay. Black philanthropy. What does that mean to you?
So that's a really good question. We just had Black Philanthropy Month, which was, was held all August long. And I always tell people, when you think about philanthropy, at its core, it means the love of mankind. So when you think about Black philanthropy, I had someone tell me, Black philanthropy is Black culture. It's what we do. We give to others. We support others. That's really, we show love to others. That is the true essence of philanthropy. It's not this big $ check that you need to write, although you need to be supporting your nonprofits, specifically your Black-led nonprofits. Put that out there. Just let me clarify for folks. You do need to financially support them. But in essence, philanthropy really, truly means the love of mankind. So how I show to my love someone, whether I'm giving them my time, whether I'm giving them my talent, serving on the board, or volunteering, or whether I'm writing that check and giving them my treasure.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, did you know about philanthropy when you was let's say when you was at Columbia College, or did you more get into it, when you finished school?
I would say I knew about it when I was in college, and really pretty much all my life, but I didn't call it philanthropy. I called it being charitable, giving to charity. And what people fail to realize, it is all the same thing. To be philanthropic, like you're giving to charity, you're helping out, you're volunteering, like whatever it may be. So I knew of what it meant, like the true definition of it, but it wasn't until I started, in college and working at the foundation that I really started to understand the term philanthropy, which, a lot of people in the Black community either shy away from or think that it's not them. And that's one thing that I really try to, help people take ownership of that word. A lot of times in philanthropy, we see, the Black or brown person being on the receiving end of it. Like, they're going to the food banks, they're going to the after school programs, they're, all these other things, which may be true, but we aren't seeing the true narrative that Black people are the most philanthropic people in America. There have been studies to show that. So, regardless if we're the Oprah Winfrey or the Tyler Perry's writing a big check, like who we are as Black people, like I said, Black culture, we are philanthropic. And my hope is that, when talking about philanthropy, when working in this field, is that I really, help to change that narrative, both from, the encouraging Black people to see themselves as philanthropic, and then also for, non-Black people to be like, look, Black people do make investments in their community. This podcast is an example of how a Black person is being philanthropic by, investing into making sure that community voices are being heard.
Facts. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
It's the truth.
Oh my goodness, my heart is pounding. Listen, thank you so much. So let me ask you this, because this is very important to me, because I love my Black women. My mother was a strong Black woman. My sisters are strong Black women. My aunts, my co-workers, my friends, they're strong Black women, right? And you mentioned that Columbia College trained you guys to be leaders, correct?
Yeah.
How does it feel right now knowing that you could possibly have the first Black woman vice president?
I mean, it's amazing, man. I think, representation matters, but even more than that, being able to be in that position and not just seem like the angry Black woman, or I think it's showing how Black women can be in authority and be in leadership and not be a negative thing.
Come on, that's awesome. So knowing that what you're like 21 right now, right? You're like
I'm not 20. I'm 27. I turned 27 earlier this year.
Okay.
I'm 27 now. I'm getting a little wiser,
27. But I still give you the whole 21 vibe because because you don't look 27. You look very mature now. You know what I'm saying? But I just like to give, my friends their flowers. You know what I'm saying? While they're living. Okay? But knowing that, you're doing so much right now, right? Do you see yourself, let's say 2-3 years from now, being in leadership positions? Like, let me say, maybe politically?
I laugh because someone's asked me that question. I say I see myself in a leadership position now. I feel like everywhere I go, everywhere my foot treads, like the Lord has called me to be a leader in some way. And leadership look different in every spaces. So in some areas where I'm leading, I'm actually cultivating other leaders. I'm helping people to, learn how to follow. I know everyone wants to be a leader, but there's so much beauty in learning how to be a follower and learning how to step behind someone else and push them forward. So that's really what when I say 3 years from now, I don't know what I'll be doing, to be honest. It's whatever the Lord says. But what I do hope in that moment is that I am able to lead authentically and lead in love no matter where I'm going to be at. And that whole political question, this world is just so... I'm one of those people that's like, I have a best friend, Brianna, who says, don't complain about it, like do something about it.
Come on.
And she works in a political world.
Right.
But I say that, I do feel like one day that might be a journey of mine, but it would definitely have to be the Lord saying, this is your time.
Right.
Right. And I feel like right now my efforts are focused more on like just the everyday person, the community person, really engaging with them and pushing for civic engagement, helping people to realize that their voice matters. And I know that that's a term that's used as rhetoric, right. But I truly believe their voice matters because they bring a different lived experience. In order for our world to move forward, all of our different lived experiences at the forefront. So that's basically the answer to your question.
No, that was a perfect answer. A perfect answer. I think that, let me tell you something. If, God, lets me see that day, you got my vote. Whatever you're running for, you can be running for mayor, president, governor, councilman, whatever, councilwoman, it doesn't matter.
I appreciate
you have my vote. I don't care who you're running against, okay? You have my vote. Because I really believe that you're destined for that kind of greatness. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, it took courage for you to jump out like that soon. You know what I mean? When I was 24, man, I was still, loading FedEx trucks, like, working, right?
Yeah.
So I could not, mentally imagine, let's say being where you're at right now, where you were when you were 24 years old, that is. And, that took some courage.
I love that word. I love the word courage. And actually I was talking to, I had a kind of pep up step with a friend of mine, Veronica, today. And she talked about how it takes courage to do what all of us do in the world. Right. Courage to push forward, courage to be the one to call out things, courage to, when it don't go your way, but you're standing in the right, still be there to see it go through. And I think a lot of people don't even, when they think about courage, they say, okay, I need courage to jump forward. But what if you jump forward and you fall flat face? You need courage to get back up, or you need courage to say like, man, I'm pushing for whatever it may be. And if my boss or whoever I'm working with says, oh, actually, we don't want to do that. It takes courage to stay in that moment to continue to push it forward because we're in it for the long game.
Exactly.
So courage is one of those things that I've been fortunate to have. And not that I even recognize that I have courage all the time. I think sometimes people, when they think about courage, they're like, oh, it's like you're like super excited and you're pumped and you're confident.
Right.
Like courage is not birthed out of confidence always.
Wow.
Courage is birthed out of obedience. So just understanding that process, that even when it doesn't feel like I am courageous, like, am I obedient? And if I'm obedient, I'm courageous because I'm going towards something that, even though I may not feel or should or think I should be doing it.
Right. Oh, that's awesome, man. You just motivated me just now. I'm telling you.
Yes, we have to.
I'm ready to run. Hey, boy is ready to run through a brick wall right now. Okay?
We have to. That's encourages obedience. We have to, man. We have to encourage each other.
You have to be obedient, because God made you, we all have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? We all have a purpose, and but it takes courage to go behind that purpose. You know what I mean? To really chase that purpose, because it's easier for me not to achieve my greatness than it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know some people, man, who are destined for greatness, but they just don't want to take that leap.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because, it takes too much courage, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I was gonna say, and it also with that, it also takes people having to walk in humility, and not in like I'm not good enough, but in like, you know what, I put down my pride, I put down even my face being on the forefront for something to happen. And I think a lot of times when people want to step out on things or do things, which, not coming down on anyone at all.
No,
but I feel like
no shade, no shots.
No shade. But if you're feeling shady, you should think about this. But humility is one of those things where you really have to say, you know what, I'm not the best at it. And even if I feel like I'm the best, there's still areas to grow at. But I will like humbly come alongside whoever wants to walk along with this journey with me and walk with them as a team, as a friend. Because if not, then like you almost like lead to this dictatorship or this all about me, or everything that you do would be centered around what I get the glory out of at the end of it. And it's not about that.
Wow, that's awesome. Listen, man, you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail smack dead on the head, man. That's awesome. So we know that a lot of times, we don't make it by ourselves. Yeah. Right? Nobody makes it by themselves, okay? And now, who was one of your mentors growing up who you just look at like, yo, without this person, there will be no me, right? Now, listen, you can't use your mother, right? You know what I'm saying? You can't use God right now. We already know. Oh my God, okay. We already know it's God and your mom, you know what I'm saying? But that mentor that really guided you to the place you're at right now.
I hate to, now I'm just gonna say, honestly, I didn't have a mentor. It was me watching folks around me. I didn't have a mentor. And at one point, I actually thought that, even last year, I'm like, is there something wrong with me? I can't find a mentor. What is going on? But I realized that there's so much value in being able to take bits and pieces from everywhere. And then also for me, I think my friend group, even though my friend group, they're not necessarily in my field, but found them or just to talk about life, like that's been my motivation. I don't have that one person that's like, oh, I want to be like this person when I grow up, because for a long time, I mean, I can say I can have women now that now that I'm more like flat-footed and walking in purpose, that I aspire to be like, but not even be like, but that's their journey inspired me. But I would say like there hasn't been, one person that's like, I'm calling like, hey, can I talk to you about this, this and that. But now I have built, friends and colleagues within my field, Veronica and like some other folks that, I reach out to as a sounding board, but that's just been more recently.
That's excellent. So let me ask you this then. If you can talk to that 17-year-old you, right? That 17-year-old you, let's say if you can mentor that 17-year-old you when you was in high school, about to go to Columbia College, not really knowing what the future was going to hold, what would you tell that 17-year-old you?
I would say, sis, be free to fail. And I think that what people really, when I had to learn for myself, is failure isn't a bad thing. We hear it all the time, but it's about failing forward. It's like failing give you the opportunity to really learn. And I think my 17-year-old self, like she said, like, I'm okay with not being perfect or whatever. But like she really didn't know what it feels like to fail, to feel like she's a failure on the inside, to feel like other people perceive her as a failure. She was afraid of that feeling. But it wasn't until I was at that feeling that I'm like, is this a failure? Like, what? Like, this is nothing. Like, I'm not saying that it don't hurt. I'm not saying that, that my pride isn't, a little whatever. But what I'm saying is like, I'm destined for greatness. Like, this temporary failure, I'm failing forward. I'm not failing backwards. I'm failing forward. So that's what I would encourage her to just be free to fail, be free, to walk in authenticity, because that's what changes lives, and that's how you impact the world.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. So let me ask you this, because now that she's made it, now that 17-year-old young lady has made it.
Made it.
Right? She's made it, right? It's a running fact that she likes to drink coffee. Huh? Yeah.
It is.
Let's learn about your whole coffee fixation. What's going on with the coffee?
So I remember when I was like 5 years old, my grandmother was at my grandmother's house, and every morning, every like Saturday and Sunday morning, she'd drink some coffee. She would only drink half of it, like Folgers coffee, I believe it was, and she would sit the rest on the kerosene heater, like her cup on the kerosene heater. And all the grandkids would like run and go and drink her coffee. So it started from there. Like my first taste of coffee was like 5. My mom's a big coffee drinker, but for me, one day I want to open up my own coffee shop. But for me, coffee is a way to bring joy. When I first drink that cup of coffee, it's like, whew, I can start my day. Or if it's in the afternoon and I need to relax, I'm like, I have my coffee. The aroma of coffee is really relaxing. I'm pretty sure there's some science behind all of this.
It has to be.
But coffee is really one of those things that allows me to really get a pep in myself. It brings me joy. And that's really one of the things I like to push out to people. So when people come to my house, I'm like, all right, if you're staying over, I'm making you coffee in the morning. Like, let me try these recipes. So if I've just tried out 2 recent recipes that I came up with. But really, it's one of my love languages, like how I show love. I tell people, if you love me, send me coffee, send me a gift card. I just love the way that it brings people together too, because you think about the how common it is for people to drink coffee and how you can build conversation just about coffee. So just that notion, as well as I can build friends, I can build whatever relationships off of just one basic thing. I tell people, coffee has the ability to build community. When you get folks together in a coffee shop, people are relaxed. People start talking. People let down their guard.
They do.
Coffee is just one of those things.
So what's your favorite brand of coffee?
I don't really have a favorite brand of coffee. To be honest, I usually go on what's on sale.
I got you.
But what I will tell you is I love mixing different syrups together. So I used to buy, like the just regular coffee creamer out the store, which I do sometimes when I'm lazy, but I like going and getting the different syrups. So whether that's salted caramel, vanilla, and like mixing it up myself. I bought myself my own frother, French press. So I'm serious, because I love also being able to mix flavors. That flavor palette is really big to me. So I don't have a favorite coffee, but I do have a favorite coffee shop here, and it's Piecewise. They're in West Columbia. I love them. They're really community-based, community-focused. Their owners are Lizzie and Stan. They do great stuff for like the West Columbia area. And then my second favorite coffee shop would be Piecewise.
Now is that where someone can go and get a coffee named right after you or something like that? Is that true?
No, so it's not a coffee name. So what I did at the end of Black Philanthropy Month, I wanted to really pay it forward to just to continue the month going forward. And it's been on my heart, parents who are navigating this school year. I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and parents are really struggling trying to figure out how to deal with this whole virtual learning. So I went to I talked with the owners at Piecewise, and I said, hey, I want to start a tab to and allow parents to come in and say joy in 2020. And the part of that was them declaring, whether they knew it or not, they were declaring that they were going to have joy in 2020. So people could go to Piecewise, get their favorite drink, whatever they wanted to, and if they said to the cashier, joy in 2020, the coffee was going to be on me. It was just a way of me paying it forward. It's a way for me, to make sure that we're declaring joy in this world.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Listen, God bless you. God bless you. But so we know that you love coffee. We know that you love coffee. The world knows that you love coffee. Okay? But I want to know, do you love chicken wings?
Chicken wings. It depends on where they're from.
Okay, because I want to ask you a question. Okay, I want to ask you a question. If you love chicken wings, when you have chicken wings, when you have the chance to eat chicken wings, do you prefer flats or drums?
To be honest, I don't care. Either way, as long as they're cooked well. Don't give me dried out chicken wings.
That's what I'm talking about.
Or over sauce chicken wings. But they both go down the same way. So,
they go down the same way, right?
They go down the same way.
There you go. That's a perfect answer. And that's how that lets me know that you have a strong political career ahead of you. That right there, I'm telling you.
Not a political career. I'm working in community right now. Community philanthropy.
Listen, I see it coming. I'm sorry, I see it coming. But we were so thankful to have you on. Like, this is a huge man blessing, because I love what you got going on. I love what you're doing. Since we met, like what when was that?
It was 3 years ago.
Damn, 2017? Mm-hmm. Wow, 2017 we met. But you have been doing so much work, man, since then. Okay, and prior to that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. But that the work is not done. Okay.
It's not.
We still have more work to do. And trust me, we'll be rooting for you. We will be cheering for you. We have your back, okay? And make sure that one day we're gonna get some coffee, okay?
Yes.
I'm not a huge coffee drinker, right?
You just haven't had the right coffee. You just have not had the right flavor.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you show me, right? You show me what I should drink.
I got you. I got you.
I'm telling you, I got you. Okay. But let me ask you a question, because some of these people may not know how to follow you. How can they follow you?
Well, I am on Facebook as Jamesha Shackerford. I'm on Instagram as Jamesha.Shackerford. That is Jamesha, and last name is Shackerford. I put a lot of different stuff on my Facebook page. If you're a nonprofit, you'll get some grant opportunities that my job will have, or other things that I see. Also, if you're not a nonprofit, you want to get some inspiration, I put whatever just drops in my spirit that day, and some funny stuff too. I believe in speaking truth to power. So you might get some stuff that's like, ooh, she kind of went there. But yeah, so I encourage you guys to follow me and keep up with me in my coffee journey.
Yes, trust me, we have to get some coffee. Does the nonprofit have to be a 501c3?
Yeah, so with Central Carolina Community Foundation, who I work for, they do require nonprofits to be 501c3s, or if you have a fiscal sponsor, it's a little different. But if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up online. I always love talking with people about their nonprofit. And I tell folks, I may not have all the answers, but what I do know, I will let you know and connect you to someone who can get you those answers. So if you're doing community work, and I hear a lot of people say, oh, I need some money, I need grant money. So if you're one of those people, I'm happy to chat with you. By all means, make sure you are legitimate before you reach out to me.
Make sure you are legit.
I am loving. I am, but I have to be a good steward of my time.
Don't waste your time. Okay?
Don't waste my time. But I will say, all right, I'm happy to chat. Come correct. Or if you were, or if you're a community member and you want to figure out how can you give back to your community that doesn't necessarily always reflect money, I would love to conversate with you too, to help you figure out how to steward your talents and treasures into the community. There's some great nonprofits out here that need some assistance. That's awesome. I'm able to help in that way. But thank you, Tuck, for having me. Again, this podcast is an example of philanthropy. You're being in places where you're elevating the voices of people that often goes muted. So thank you
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for having. Listen, man. Thank you for coming on this show. Okay, because we need people like you, and we need to support more people like yourself. Okay, so thank you, and you'll be hearing from me soon, and hopefully my listeners, you'll be hearing from them soon too. Okay?
Hopefully. Again, make sure you do your homework first. And then
do your homework first. All right. Call with some, with sense. Okay. Call with some sense. All right. Thank you so much, baby girl. We appreciate you. God bless you. Okay.
All right. Bye, guys. It was so good.
Yo, Kingdom. Community vibes, community ties. Terrance Tucker is the brother who's connecting the tribe. You say you want shine, come get your shine on. You say you want vibes, come get your vibe on. Community vibes, community ties. Terrance Tucker is the brother who's connecting the tribe. Hey, you say you want shine, we'll get your shine on. You say you want vibes, we'll get your vibe on.